In the scrum, I've only watched it on video. I was surprised that he would handle it like that. This was a response to what Rex Ryan said, and this was a reaction to that. And we have to sometimes remember that these are very, very young men. People come into the NFL with different levels of maturity. These are young guys, and not all of them speak the same way. And some of them, I think, just have different personalities too. I don't think Shedeur meant any harm.
Rex Ryan thought he was just dropping some spicy sports talk until Mary Kay came flying in like a mom catching someone talking slick about her kid. Only this time, her kid was Shedeur Sanders, and she came swinging with receipts and confidence. One minute, Rex is chuckling on live TV, thinking he's got the last word, and the next, the internet's roasting him while crowning Mary Kay as the new MVP of sports drama. This wasn't just a debate, it was a digital smackdown that had everyone glued to their screens. Rex laced up his verbal cleats, hit the field of live TV, and came for Shedeur Sanders like he was running a blitz, but he got sacked fast. What was supposed to be a quick jab turned into a full-blown fumble when Mary Kay calmly strolled into the chaos and started dropping facts like bombs. Every sentence hit with precision, every word burned with confidence. It was pure domination. Now let's break down how a veteran analyst ended up schooling himself on national television. Because this wasn't just some viral moment, it was a showdown, a lesson in timing, attitude, and public perception. Shedeur's silent stunt wasn't random, it was a statement, and Mary Kay made sure everyone understood that loud and clear. So what even went down? You've seen the clip?
It's a lot.
Yeah. All right, Rex. Yeah, when he came out, did we win? We needed that.
Yeah.
As fans, we needed it. I mean, this guy is a legend. A legend. You talk about a fighter? Yeah. Dang right, he's a fighter. He's a dang legend. Thank you. I needed it as a dad, as a coach, and as a fan of this game.
Shedeur, sitting third on the depth chart, walks into a media scrum, flashes, questions flying, pressure everywhere, and says absolutely nothing. Instead, his hands did all the talking. He started miming, throwing gestures like a silent movie star, saying, "I hear you, but I'm not giving you headlines today." Instantly, the internet exploded. Some called it weird, some said he was dodging the press, and others claimed he'd lost it, but no one could stop talking about it. This silent interview became the loudest clip of the week, so of course someone had to clap back. And who better than Rex Ryan, the man who treats every take like it's a halftime speech? He didn't hesitate for a second. He jumped on national TV and started tossing verbal grenades straight at Shedeur Sanders. But this time, he didn't just critique his game, he went after his whole character, how he carries himself, how he acts when the spotlight hits. Suddenly, it wasn't football talk anymore, it was personal. And that's when someone sharp enough to handle the heat stepped in, Mary Kay, not some random voice on Twitter, but a seasoned NFL insider who's lived in locker rooms, press scrums, and chaos for years. Mary didn't show up to defend anyone. She came to correct the narrative.
Is a dynamic player. He's got a lot of personality. He has done a lot of things right here. He's working really, really hard to come up the learning curve. And this is the first time in his life and his career that he's had to be a backup. And it's difficult. He's trying to be patient. He's trying to do the right things, but it cannot be easy for him to believe that he can go out there and start football games and have to be the third string quarterback.
She didn't beg for leniency or sympathy. She flipped the whole conversation upside down. She reframed the story, brought the missing context, and suddenly the internet's favorite loudmouth was the one under review. Just like that, Rex went from analyst to headline, and the crowd switched sides fast. Now let's talk about where Rex fumbled the play. The guy's been around forever, he knows how media works, he understands power dynamics, but this time, he threw lazy assumptions instead of solid points. He made it personal, and that's where Mary Kay cut through like a blade. She reminded everyone that without evidence, criticism is just empty noise. She challenged him live like, if you've got proof, show it. If not, stop treating your opinions like gospel. Boom, one line and the balance of power shifted. Then Mary took it deeper. She gave Shedeur's silence meaning. She explained that the miming wasn't a tantrum or arrogance, it was awareness. Shedeur knows exactly how heavy his name is, how much gravity his brand carries, and how every move he makes echoes louder than most players' words. He knows every single word he says is a ticking time bomb, ready to be clipped, dissected, and tossed into 100 viral debates before the echo even fades. So when Shedeur sits silent and lets his hands do the talking, maybe it's not attitude, it's strategy. Maybe he's saying, I'm not feeding the frenzy, but I'm still in control. It's his quiet way of speaking loud without handing the media fresh ammo.
He's one of an outstanding coach, all right? But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
Mary Kay even dropped a gem straight from training camp. She revealed that this wasn't new behavior. He's been trying to acknowledge the media without handing them easy headlines. A nod here, a wave there, small gestures that say, I see you, without giving them a single quote to twist. But did it work this time? Not exactly. The miming blew up bigger than anything Dillon Gabriel said that day. And that's where the irony hit. The silence became the story. Mary Kay made it clear, though, context is everything. Sometimes when you're young and under a microscope, even your smart moves can backfire. You try something different and suddenly it's a meme. But that doesn't mean you're clueless or cocky. It just means you're human, learning in real time while the world watches every blink.
Ryan, when I got aware, I did the homework on him a long time ago though, and because he was always loud as the Jets coach, and he's always predicted that they was gonna go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Every year, this the year we're gonna do it. This the year we're gonna do it. This the year we're gonna do it. And you just brought that up, Mike, in your take. Nigga, you loud, Rex. As a coach, you're loud as a coach, and especially as a commentator, you're very loud and you take bold takes. So when Mace asks, was it clout chasing? I don't think it's clout chasing, it's just what he...
And then she hit the emotional core. Shedeur's situation isn't ordinary. He's not just another backup quarterback. He's Deion Sanders' son, a former Heisman contender, a man born with both spotlight and expectation chasing him. To go from college stardom to standing on the sidelines, clipboard in hand, that's a psychological heavyweight fight. You're watching everyone else play while you're itching to prove you belong out there. Mary Kay nailed it. This isn't laziness. This is internal warfare. The grind doesn't stop because the field time does. He's studying, learning, and waiting for the shot that'll flip the story completely. And until then, every criticism, every joke, every hot take just adds more fire to the motivation burning underneath.
I do want to reiterate real quick what Shedeur said, and I know I said it, but I just want to be clear so all Shedeur said basically to ESPN Cleveland that he was ready to play right now. And he said, if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that. So I know we talked about Rex Ryan's comments, and then we've just seen the media criticize a lot of what Shedeur does, but why do you think, Mike, and I'll let you go first, people have such a problem with that statement?
I'm baffled. I'm baffled. If he said anything else, we would jump on it and be all over him like, well, how come you don't have any confidence? That's why you're not playing. So each man, every man that's not on the football field, every man in the National Football League has to believe that he is good enough.
Let's be real. Was Rex Ryan out of line? Absolutely. Sure, he's got the right to critique players. That's his job. But there's a line between analyzing performance and attacking personality. Once you start swinging at someone's character without solid proof, you're asking to get roasted in return. And that's exactly what Mary Kay reminded everyone. Where's the accountability for these so-called big voices? If you've got the platform and the power, shouldn't you also have the discipline? You can't just take wild shots and expect no one to clap back. Now let's talk about fairness, because the double standard is loud. When analysts mess up, they get excuses. oh, they misspoke, or it's just their opinion. But when a young player makes one unusual move, suddenly it's front page drama, memes, hot takes, think pieces, it's overkill. Shedeur is still learning, still finding his rhythm, yet the world treats every misstep like a scandal. That imbalance says a lot about how media loves to build someone up just to watch them stumble. Then we get to the miming itself. Was it genius or a flop? Honestly, a bit of both. It was bold, creative, and unforgettable. He managed to turn complete silence into the loudest moment of the week. That's power. He made silence speak louder than words ever could. But here's the flip side. He lost control of the narrative.
It seemed that way, and I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who believe that what he's saying to be true, because that's the exact sort of narrative around Shedeur that is reportedly why he got drafted in the 5th round and wasn't a day 2 pick at the very least, because they don't think his attitude was very good. But what's interesting is when you talk to Shedeur, when you hear the Browns talk about Shedeur, all you sort of see is a guy who's out there, during training camp. He was out there early on the field. He was out there late after practice. He talks about how, like, all the things he's learned, how, yes, he would prefer to be starting, but that, what he's doing right now, he's learned a lot from, and he's continuing to show up every day, and, like, God, he's leaving it in God's hands, whatever the situation's.
The moment became open to interpretation, and in media land, ambiguity is chaos. You give the internet an inch of mystery, and it'll spin a mile of theories. That's the beauty and the curse of what he did. He made a statement without saying a word, and in doing so, proved that sometimes silence can be the noisiest headline of all. On one hand, what Shedeur did was bold, straight up bold. It wasn't the usual cookie cutter response. It was strange, silent, and completely out of left field. It made people stop scrolling and go, wait, what's he doing? That's power. But on the flip side, it's a gamble, a huge one. Silence invites curiosity, but also criticism. It gives space for haters to twist the story, for headlines to run wild with their own versions of the truth. And because Shedeur's every move gets magnified, quiet moments never stay quiet for long. Then comes the teammate angle, and this part is fascinating. Mary Kay floated a theory that maybe, just maybe, Shedeur didn't speak because he didn't want to steal Dylan Gabriel's shine. He knew if he said anything, the headlines would instantly shift toward him. So he chose silence, not ego, but respect. That's awareness, maybe even humility. He tried to let Dylan have his moment in peace. But here's the irony. The gesture meant to stay small turned massive. The silence became the story. That's poetic and painful all at once. Now what we've got is a young man caught in a tug of war between identity and expectation, between standing tall and stepping back. Meanwhile, a veteran analyst misfires. A reporter swoops in with perspective, and boom, a small act becomes a national debate. That's real drama right there, and it's why everyone can't stop talking about it. But if we zoom out, this goes beyond football. This is about how young athletes live under a microscope. Every facial expression, every tweet, every quote becomes a weapon.
So, Rex Ryan, who used to be a coach, who is now on ESPN, has a little viral video that's going around.
This kid Toxie, right?
Well, what caught my attention, Auntie Shar's attention, is when he said that he should be embarrassed for not being the starting quarterback. Well, when Shedeur was back there like this, maybe he was back there saying, well, you won't put me in. You want to keep playing with me, and I told you what I can do. Maybe he wasn't back there going, they won't put me in. You really don't know what was going through his head. If he didn't tell you what he was talking about, then how would you know? Because to me, when a quarterback sits there and says, I know I can play better than these quarterbacks that's playing there, I don't think that they sitting back there.
It's about how media shapes perception, how critics can crash momentum with one lazy take. It's also a masterclass in public survival, knowing when to talk, when to hold back, and how to protect your peace when the spotlight burns too bright. Because today, every word, every silence, every gesture, it's all content. Every move becomes a message, even when you don't say a single word. Content is the new currency, but let's not forget, it's also a weapon. And this week, Mary Kay came swinging like a pro. She didn't just talk, she dissected, reframed, and demanded accountability like she owned the arena. With precision and poise, she made Rex Ryan look reckless, loud, reactive, and out of touch. She flipped the whole script, turning the story from a kid acting weird into a young player surviving impossible optics under the media spotlight. That's power. That's a full narrative reversal, and now the crowd's whispering. Maybe Rex was the one out of line all along. Will Rex apologize? Probably not. Will he double down? Maybe quietly. But the internet already delivered its verdict, and it's not in his favor. Because when a man in his 60s fires off on someone in their 20s who hasn't even touched the field yet, the optics are rough. It looks less like analysis and more like picking on potential. And that kind of move doesn't age well under public heat.
Shedeur Sanders saga is a lose-lose situation. He gets interviewed and he gives a thoughtful answer and he actually answers the question. Then we're nitpicking, not we, but the media's nitpicking and trying to find something wrong out of that. And then when he does this, says nothing at all, obviously trolling Rex Ryan for his comments, people come out and say he's a child, he's immature, this is why he slipped in the draft. I get what he was doing, right? He was trying to say, when I say something, you guys hate it, right? So I'm not going to say anything at all. He was trolling Rex Ryan. But in my opinion, I don't agree with this Shedeur. I mean, they're going to like and hate you anyway. Just be you. Because with the antics, all you're doing is proving the haters right. See? This is why he can't be trusted.
Now let's look ahead. What should Shedeur do next? The answer's tricky but simple: timing. Silence isn't always safety, and talking isn't always victory. The art is knowing when to drop your words and when to let your game do the talking. If he masters that balance, he'll ride this wave instead of drowning in it. Mary Kay showed everyone how it's done. She sharpened the focus, shifted the frame, and turned what looked like a joke into a lesson. The miming may have misfired, but it got the world to stop, stare, and think. And that's more attention than most third-string quarterbacks ever see. So here's the truth. This story isn't done. Shedeur still has plays left, just not the kind you see on the field. Now it's about mastering the off-field game, the one built on perception, patience, and power. Because that's where real reputations are made, and right now, Shedeur is learning how to win in silence. Rex Ryan must have thought it was just another casual day on set. Crack a few jokes, toss out a hot take, maybe even drop one of his classic foot comments and call it a wrap.
Fans and certain NFL front offices are tired of Shedeur Sanders. That message doesn't come from out of the sky. Somebody wanted Rex to say it, and Rex delivered it eloquently. It went viral, and guys, I gotta tell you, the evidence that they used supporting it put Shedeur in a bad position. This isn't just Rex going rogue. This is TV, guys. It's narrative. It's business. ESPN is feeding the same energy. The NFL is already putting out there. ESPN is a huge major media partner with the NFL. The NFL puts out there what they want ESPN.
But he had no idea what kind of storm he was stepping into. He walked straight into a media hurricane wearing flip-flops. Because out of nowhere, Mary Kay came charging in like a social media warrior who just got tagged in a post saying, "Shedeur ain't that guy." And let's be clear, if there's one person you never underestimate in 2025, it's Mary Kay when she's got a microphone, a mission, and something to set straight. The chaos all started with that moment. Shedeur Sanders' now legendary miming celebration. Yep, the one that went viral faster than a celebrity breakup. Fans were losing their minds, acting like they just watched the Mona Lisa break into a TikTok dance. And the wild part, he didn't even say a single word. He was just miming, literally miming.
The most shocking news of the week for me, pleasantly shocking, Joe Flacco, as I call him, out as Cleveland starter. What? Blown away by that. Wait, they just upset Micah Parsons, Green Bay Packers. It was the upset of the century at Cleveland just a week ago. And now Flacco's out? I get it. They went and got blown out at Detroit, but Detroit, as I just mentioned, hottest team in pro football.
And somehow still managed to send the entire sports world into meltdown mode. Grown adults on national TV started debating whether his silent act was unsportsmanlike or disrespectful, like we were talking about world peace instead of a post-game celebration. But Mary Kay wasn't having any of that nonsense. She came out swinging for Shedeur like she was his PR rep, defense attorney, and motivational coach all rolled into one. Her tone, fierce. Her delivery, surgical. She laid it out plain. Shedeur wasn't mocking anyone. He was just expressing himself, owning his moment, doing what athletes have done forever, celebrate their wins. She even flipped the narrative, calling the miming performance art in cleats, and the crowd ate it up. Meanwhile, poor Rex looked lost, staring into the camera like someone just hit pause on his brain. You could see it in his eyes. He was wondering if he'd wandered into the wrong studio. This wasn't a talk show anymore. It was a masterclass in confidence, and Mary Kay was the professor. By the time she wrapped her speech, the internet had already crowned her the official spokesperson for Team Shedeur. And honestly, no one was arguing. The internet doesn't rest for a single second, and this little exchange between Rex Ryan and Mary Kay turned into the funniest circus of the week. The wild part?
I see a guy that seems to be doing things all the right way, but Rex is implying something very different, and it's almost like this question of, is Shedeur to blame for not being ahead of Dillon Gabriel on the depth chart? Is he to blame for not being as ready as he said last week he thinks he is to potentially be a starting quarterback in this league?
The whole quote was so strange. Like, the whole, like, if I know the whole league knows, like, did somebody inside Berea give that to Rex Ryan? That's what I really want to know. And I know that I'll never get that answer.
Shedeur didn't even speak in the original clip. He was completely silent and somehow caused more chaos than a fire alarm going off inside a popcorn factory. That's star power, baby. When your silence makes more noise than other people's interviews, you've officially crossed into main character territory. Meanwhile, Mary Kay was out here soaking in her internet victory like a champ. She didn't just defend Shedeur, she owned the entire moment. Effortless, calm, and razor sharp, she spoke like someone who knew the scoreboard was already in her favor. That's a different kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't come from clout, but from clarity. She knew she was right, and Rex was just talking to fill the silence. And oh, the backpedaling. Pure entertainment. You could practically see the panic flash across Rex's face in real time. His body language was screaming, "Why didn't I just say good game and move on?" But it was too late. By the time the segment wrapped, Rex wasn't debating anymore. He was surviving. He had that classic, "I know I'm about to get roasted online" look plastered across his face, the one every analyst gets right before Twitter turns them into a meme. You can bet when the cameras cut, Rex went home in silence. Ironically, the same move that started this whole mess. Rex probably opened Twitter, saw Mary Kay trending, and just muttered to himself, "What did I do?"
First of all, ESPN is at fault. All of them are at fault because of this man right here. A lot of people don't like Shedeur, and Rex Ryan is one of those people, but stating that he's not in the meeting room and there's the pictures. All of these pictures flooded the internet the very same day.
Because let's be honest, the internet doesn't forgive fast and it never forgets. It loves a comeback story, sure, but it lives for a roast. And this time, Rex was the main course. One player, one silent celebration, and suddenly sports analysts everywhere started acting like philosophers and life coaches on live TV. It was comedy gold dressed up as deep analysis. At this point, the miming moment has completely evolved beyond football. It's become a full-blown metaphor, a movement, a masterclass in how to make the whole world listen without saying a single word. What started as silence turned into the loudest cultural moment of the week. And for Rex Ryan, this one's going in the Hall of Fame of lessons learned the hard way. Because sometimes the loudest voice in the room isn't the guy yelling. It's the one who lets the silence speak for itself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next one.